Zambia's former Foreign Affairs Minister, Joseph Malanji, has been arrested for alleged money laundering activities. Malanji is the second ex-minister to be arrested in a week after former Justice Minister Given Lubinda was also charged on Tuesday.
Malanji is accused of possessing properties and a helicopter valued at $1.4 million, which is suspected to have been acquired from proceeds of crime, allegations which he refutes. The 56-year-old was arrested alongside former Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Yamba, who has been charged with corruption-related offences for allegedly transferring over $192,000 to the Zambian mission in Turkey. The arrest of several high-ranking officials are part of President Hakainde Hichilema's zero-tolerance policy on corruption. His administration is racing against time to recover stolen state assets that has left Zambia in a multi-billion-dollar debt crisis.
Well, for more on this story, we're now joined by Zambian journalist Arthur Sikopo. Arthur, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Good to have you on the program again. So we've seen some pretty high-profile and significant arrests this week. First, the opposition party leader Given Lubinda for corruption involving $500,000, we believe, and now former Minister Malanji. What does this tell us about President Hichilema's fight against corruption?
Well, thank you so much, Peter, for having me, and it's always great being here to just share what is happening around here. As you have rightly put it, we saw two high-profile persons being arrested. This just in just a few days apart. Given Lubinda and of course Joe Malanji, over all of them, it's over resources that are suspected to be, proceeds of crime. For this, when you look at, the battle that President Hakainde Hichilema started, immediately took over office, he said that we'll fight corruption, we'll fight corruption and see to it that, Zambians benefit what belongs to them, and we'll fight it tooth and nail. And we've seen him, continuing on that particular trajectory and making those pronouncements almost every time, he's addressing the public, and he's ever talking about, corruption and just the fighting against corruption. But at some point, people were just, looking at issues to say who is being arrested, or let's see, if at all people are being corrupt, or those people that are corrupt are being arrested. Then we started seeing, arrests starting last year from the time that President Hakainde Hichilema took over office. We started seeing arrests coming up, and mostly of those that have been arrested are those that were former ministers, those that served, in different government portfolios, such as government agencies, also parastatals. Mainly those are the ones that are being arrested in this particular fight that President Hakainde Hichilema started, the fight against corruption. But Peter, I must mention that, these are just still allegations, because these matters have now gone to the courts where they have to prove themselves. And this is one thing that Given Lubinda himself pointed out just recently, to say that arrest all those that you feel have committed crimes. And the time that he was arrested, he was formally arrested, he came out and talked to the media and said, I'm happy now that I've been arrested, and I only hope that many others will be arrested, so that we prove ourselves in the courts of law, if at all we stole these monies that we have, if at all we stole these properties that we have at all. So it is going on like that, and most of these cases are now have gone to court, and it is up to now the court to prove that, of course, these people were corrupt, or these people were not corrupt, we were just being accused. So that is where it is right now, Peter.
Former Minister Malanji is being accused of buying a hotel from the proceeds of crime. I guess he's going to have to find a way to show how he was able to afford to buy a hotel, given what ministers earn.
Exactly. He was arrested, of course, for that particular property, and of course, two helicopters. And I must mention, according to the Anti-Corruption Commission statement, those two helicopters somewhere in your neighborhood, that side in South Africa. So obviously, they're trying to find a way to bring them to Zambia so that they also can be put on that particular list of evidence and all that has to be presented to court. So for sure, he was arrested on that particular property. And of course, the two helicopters which he bought, those are what are known as Bell Ranger 208, which are costing 700,000 United States dollars. And those are some of the properties that obviously Joe Malanji has to prove to the court that he did steal or he did not steal. So the issues or those matters have now begun. And of course, Zambians have been asking where these former top government officials were getting the monies that they were giving out during campaigns, that were giving out the time that they were in power. So I think now it is up to them now to obviously prove to Zambians whether they stole that money or whether they obtained it, genuinely. We know others have been businessmen for a long time. We know others have been engaged in one or two activities which have been known. But of course, others, some people are asking that, what about these other people? What have they done in these maybe 5 years for them to have, these so much resources or these so much, properties around the country and all? So it will be up to now these people that have been arrested for them to prove in the courts of law to say we did not steal this particular property. And of course, the investigative wings will be at hand, to help, proving the innocence of these or proving them guilty. But as we, as of now, Zambians are just waiting to see these cases being concluded. Of course, they have already started in the courts of law.
All right. So no question that if you're in power, you have the opportunity to perhaps get involved in all kinds of corruption. The courts will hear, ventilate these cases. But is there any doubt in anybody's mind that corruption did exist?
Well, the doubt could be there in some people's minds, but in other people's minds, the doubt could not be there because some of them just saw what maybe what these people that could not afford this particular lifestyle started living this particular lifestyle. But of course, others are arguing that I mean, when you are in power or when are working hard, you can be able to live a comfortable life. You can be able to buy whatever you want. You can be able to have enough property as much as you want. When you're hardworking. But of course, others are saying that what they're telling us is just false. This is corruption. So I think it will now remain, obviously, for them to prove themselves, and of course, the court to do its mandate in terms of adjudicating over these matters. And Zambians are obviously eager. Zambians are obviously waiting. But again, I must maybe take you to one or two concerns that Zambians have had. Zambians have seen these arrests, going on, and to some certain extent, they were asking those law enforcement officers, so where were you when all these issues were happening? Where were you when, all these alleged corruption cases were happening? And I must mention that, most of these cases are dating way back, about 5 years ago, some of them about 3 years ago, they're only being arrested now. So some people are questioning to say, were you sleeping as investigative wings, as Zambia Police? Were you sleeping as Anti-Corruption Commission, as Drug Enforcement Commission? Were you sleeping when these cases were happening at all? Why come out now? But of course, the answer could be, somebody could say that maybe the answer could lie in what the president said, that corruption has to be fought. And of course, the president even had to put it back to say that from matters that happened, I think, after 2016, from 2016 to date, have to be investigated. Those issues that were seen not to be, clear, have to be investigated. So obviously, that is what maybe these law enforcement officers have been following. And but obviously, it is, like some people would say, when you just miss maybe an hour or without maybe going on social media to check what is happening, obviously you can be behind and you can be seen to be in a different world, because each and every moment in the country, there's something to talk about.
How close to the former president are some of these arrests and alleged activities getting? Could his own presidency be tarnished as a result of these arrests that we're seeing?
Well, for those that have been arrested, most of them were, some of them were close to, the president then, that is Edgar Chagwa Lungu. But we don't know. And, people have also, some sections of society have also branded him, to be involved in some of these activities, in these corrupt activities and all. But obviously, it has to remain maybe after maybe everything has been concluded, after maybe all investigations have been concluded. Maybe if they see to that maybe there could be some link to the former president and all, then obviously maybe the law enforcement officers obviously can follow it up and try to pick it up from that end. Obviously, it's maybe after all these maybe former top officers have been picked. And maybe just to go back a little bit, Given Lubinda at some point, shared the words which he said that were from the former president, Edgar Lungu. It was carried in one a tabloid in the country to say that the former president is saying that follow me if at all you think that I've committed crimes. Follow me if you think that I've committed crimes in the country during my tenure, rather than following the people that were around me. And that made headlines around after Given Lubinda came out in that fashion, speaking on behalf of the former president Edgar Lungu. And that is after the former president Edgar Lungu's wife, as organization was searched by the law enforcement agencies, and also those that were seen to be close to him, to former President Lungu, were being searched. Some of the searches have still continued, even up to date. I think it should be maybe a week or two. We saw another search that was being conducted by the law enforcement agencies. So really, the investigations are still going on, and it will remain at that particular point to see who was corrupt or who is corrupt and who wasn't corrupt.
All right, perhaps finally, and if you could answer this question briefly, I suppose the president is also going to have to try and manage a narrative, because it's no secret that he was hounded, he was persecuted, and he suffered a great deal when the previous administration was in power. Some people might suggest that these arrests are targeting his former persecutors, that maybe this is about revenge. I guess this is something that he's going to have to manage. He has to deal with corruption, but people might say, but hang on, you're just trying to get back at us.
Exactly. That is what other people, of course, have been saying, more especially those that were in the Patriotic Front, or are in the Patriotic Front, the party that lost power under Edgar Lungu. So we've seen statements from them to say that you are just targeting us because you obviously just want to revenge on us. Of course, Hakainde Hichilema took 127 days in prison, being moved from one prison to the other, and being moved from from the jail cell to courts, just to respond to issues that he was charged with, until that case was discharged. And some people would say, of course, just like you have said, that maybe maybe he's just trying to hit back at those that were in power and those that were powerful at that particular point, and just maybe to inconvenience them, or just maybe to make sure that maybe they go what he went through. But of course, some certain sectors, of course, would argue against that narrative to say that we think that these people were just corrupt or are just corrupt,
and that is
why
to be done
the law enforcement agencies are just taking it from that end.
Arthur, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much. Always good talking to you. Your insights greatly appreciated. Zikomo kwambili.
Zikomo kwambili, Peter, and much appreciated.
All right. Take care. Thank you.